Welcome to Whispers, everybody, on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. It is 8:09 p.m. here in downtown Wheeling. It's finally warming up after our big snowstorm that we apparently were supposed to get.
Yeah. Schools were canceled. Games were canceled. Our show then was canceled.
I know, how about that? Oh, well, it's Thursday night. We're having fun. Give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, call us toll-free, 866-514-1600. How we doing, Nikki?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good now.
Who knew that a radio show could be canceled due to snow?
It's the basketball game, Park. How'd they do last night? Was it worth it?
Park beat Steubenville. Yeah.
Well, at least they did something good.
Something good came of it all.
All right, tonight we're just going to go right into our guests. Nick, do you want to do the introductions, or would you like me to?
Go ahead and do it, because you have the sheet in front of you.
Okay, we have Mr. Martin and Delia Wach. And they are authors. They are actually local authors, children's authors. They have been to 6 different schools. How many is that? No, more than 6 different schools. 552 schools. 6 different books written from those schools. And you have a Guinness Book of World Record.
Yeah, we built the world's biggest teddy bear about a month ago down at the Clay Center in Charleston. 61 feet. And it's in the Guinness Book of Records now.
And what are you doing with that bear now that it's...
We're going to start letting it out to hospitals, to big events, for money raisers, for charities and things like that. And when I speak at schools during the week, I'm going to invite kids to come on over and meet them at the end of the week at a big event. Right now we're working with a group in Children's Hospital in Akron, Ohio. And we're going to have them there, and it's going to help the hospital draw attention to cancer research. And at the same time, we're going to sell a lot of books, too.
So the teddy bear's going on tour.
That teddy bear's going on tour.
To a town near you.
Yep. And any town that would like us to come, any event that would like to have us bring this monstrous teddy bear, we'd love to bring it along.
Now, how big is the teddy bear again?
61 feet.
So do you strap it on like kind of King Kong in the back of the truck? Strap its arms down and carry it?
We would actually need a semi to carry it right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to break it up into parts and separate it and Velcro it together when we get to it.
Some little kid's going to see the head of a teddy bear going down the road.
How big would you say the head was?
Boy, I'm guessing.
The head's about 12 feet.
Yeah, about 12 by 12.
Not something you'd want to see in your window.
But it's quite a statement, and it needs a crane to pick it up its full height, so pretty cool.
Yeah, if you can talk
Instead
a
of
little
the
bit.
sign language, yeah. You guys need to get right up on the microphones so that everybody can hear you.
Nick failed
I
sign
failed
language
sign language in school.
It looked like he was kissing the microphone. Also, Martin, something else that you've done, you actually, Nick says it's a soldier of fortune. I don't know if that's how you would say, but you did some adventuring in the South American rainforest.
A soldier of fortune. Delia gets a little mad at me when I say that, but I went down there.
I'm sorry, Delia.
But I went down to South America to actually talk about the internet in 1993 when it was brand new. And I was invited to stay by the Maroon Indians to work with them and help them develop trade, world trade. And ended up spending the next 6 years going back and forth to the rainforest working with them.
Now, who are the Maroon Indians? What can you tell us about them?
I'll let Delia tell you a little bit about them.
Okay.
The Maroon Indians are... Suriname used to be Dutch Guyana, and the Dutch took the slaves from Africa to Suriname to work on the plantations in the early part of the 18th century. And the Maroons had other ideas. So they escaped, went back into the rainforest, and have lived as free African people in the rainforest in South America for the last 300 years.
Wow.
And would even, when the Dutch would bring more slaves over, they would organize raiding parties and go and help liberate the newest slaves. So it became it became the reason that Suriname is such a melting pot. When you go to Suriname, it's an incredible melting pot because once the African thing wasn't working out for them, then there's a lot of people from India, there's people from Indonesia, there's people from Japan. anywhere that you found Dutch colonizing,
Uh-huh.
you'll find groups of population from that came to Suriname.
Wow. Didn't know that. That's, now, are these groups also, did they spread throughout the area, Caribbean, other islands, or?
The only place that there are what are considered maroons, escaped slaves that establish their own independent cultures, are Suriname, Jamaica. So if you like the coffee, the special blue coffee from the Blue Mountains in Jamaica,
It's
very
not a coffee
expensive.
drinker, Lola.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Jamaican mountain beans are the best.
well, that's raised by maroons.
People keep trying to get me to drink coffee. I can't do it.
I didn't drink coffee till I was in
I
my
only
early
like it
30s.
when they put chocolate in it. It becomes a mocha kind of
Oh,
thing.
foo-foo drinks.
I like frou-frou drinks. I can't help it. So now, how did the Maroons treat you? I mean, I'm thinking they're probably not somebody that likes the outside world as much.
If I was Dutch, they wouldn't have liked me a whole lot, but I'm a Polak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can get along with just about anybody, and for some reason I really clicked with them, and had a fantastic time working with them over 6 years. And in fact, we brought them up here on 2 national tours. The Medicine Man that I traveled with, and went to universities, and then went out and visited zoos and that sort of thing, zoological societies, and he talked about his medicines and so on. So we had a very close relationship, and in fact, we're brothers. He considers me his brother.
Now, there's this story that you told. I met you when you were in Moundsville, and a bunch of stories you told. I'm going to try to get you to say most of them tonight because they were hilarious. There's one that the Maroons, probably right now, somewhere in South America, somebody's telling this story most likely. It could be happening. You know which one I'm talking about because you're smiling.
The tarantula story.
The tarantula story. You're going to have to tell the tarantula story.
Okay, well, I woke up I was sound asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning on my hammock in a village called Marawena, and something tickled the back of my head, and woke up an hour later with a tarantula in the middle of my face. And I look at the little kindergarten kids and I ask them, what do you think happened next? And they say, we don't know. I say, I peed in my pants. And they just roll from one end of the room to the other. And then I tell them what happened. It crawled off my face, sat on my chest, and the Indian told me to scratch its butt. They get a bald spot on their rear end, about the size of 2 quarters. And actually, they love to have it scratched. And so I reached over and I scratched its butt, and it goes up and down. And then I looked at the kids today at the school I was in today, and I said, it actually fell in love with me.
Did you still have it?
No.
He took it home.
No. But it
Would
did.
Would your wife let you have a tarantula as a pet?
Her name is Delia.
No, and I don't think I'd enjoy it if I was home anyway. But what happened is it did 2 really nasty things. It brought 2 buddies with him one night.
Oh.
And I teach the kids how to pick them up. Actually, if you grab them between their front 4 feet and their back 4 feet with your 2 fingers and pick them up quickly, they'll pass out for about 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can't take that motion and they just go out. And
I need
That's
to
a
remember
helpful hint
that.
if I'm ever getting attacked by a tarantula. I'm not big on spiders. I'd
Survival
probably pee
tip
my pants
number
too.
1.
The second thing he did one night is he bit a friend of mine right in the butt.
Oh.
And I turned to the kids and I told them actually his bottom got as big as a watermelon.
Really?
It did. And the second thing is the white guys down there don't have big butts. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And the women in the rainforest fell madly in love with him for about 2 or 3 days. He was the first white guy they ever saw with a big butt, But that's just it. And actually, it's all true. I mean, it happened over a period of time. But the kids always ask me, is that a true story? I said, what it is it happened maybe one night and another incident happened another night, but I put it all together to make one nice, smooth story. But it's, tarantulas are a way of life down there, and if you don't get used to that, you're not going to be very comfortable in the middle of the rainforest.
Is that the most dangerous thing you ran into?
No. Actually, the worst thing are the bugs.
I hate bugs. I'm not a bug
And
person.
they're ones that sting and bite, and sometimes they'll kill you.
Really?
So you got to be really, really careful. Mosquitoes with malaria are a big issue.
Oh, yeah.
But the medicine men kept me going, and I never got malaria the entire time I was there.
Now, when you probably, from what I understand, you took your stories from the rainforest and you brought them here, and then how exactly did you decide to write them into a book with a teddy bear?
You ask Mrs. Wach, because she's
Hi, Miss
the one
Wach.
that actually the reason it got done was her pushing me.
So Delia, you pressured him?
I did. Well, there is a strange, bizarre part of my personality that if I get to know you and I like you, and I've got to like you a whole lot, and I draw you up as a teddy bear.
I'd be a big teddy bear.
You'd be a big teddy bear,
Yeah.
right? So I get to know people and I take their personalities and turn them into teddy bears. And that's what I did with our friends from the rainforest. And when you look at the front of the book of Teddy Bear Guardians of the Rainforest and you see the picture of the blue house and the bear walking toward the house, then you know that is the first picture that I did in the series.
Okay.
That was when I really turned Heinz into a teddy bear.
I'm going to give this to Jordan, and that way he can put it on the webcam. I don't even see the webcam. It's pointing towards Lola.
I don't think it's working.
Yeah.
Is it dead? All right, you can see the picture on our website.
Yeah, the picture's on the website, and that picture was the first one that I did, and that really is an interpretation of a house that we visited. I got to go on one big grand trip to the rainforest. Marty went many times, but I got to go once, and this was actually Heinz's. The real medicine man's name is Dr. Heinz Longfeld, and this is his mother's house, a version of his mother's house.
Oh, very good.
So then I took all of our friends and I told their story. So when you read the book, you really are seeing what happened, but just interpreted as teddy bears. Because one of the things the Maroons love to do is tell stories.
Uh-huh.
And when we would be with them in the rainforest, or if we were with them in the United States, every night after dinner, they would sit around in a circle and tell stories. Didn't matter what other media we had in our house, no TV, no nothing. They wanted to sit in our backyard and tell stories. And the stories that are reflected in here are those stories. In the book, the little teddy bear Heinz goes to live with his grandmother when he's 7. Well, in Maroon culture, when you're about 7, 8 years old, they decide what you're going to be when you grow up. So they pretty much apprentice you to a family that does that. So if you're really good at wood carving, they apprentice you to a wood carving family. If you're really good at being a medicine, you really show a lot of interest in the plants and, you're always around the people that are working with the plants, then they'll put you with a family that does that. So that's part of the education. And when Heinz was 7, he was sent to live with his grandmother. So the book seems to be just a book about teddy bears, but it really is teaching about Maroon culture.
Well, that's very interesting. They seem like an interesting people. I don't know how, exactly. Like I said, I always figured that they would be someone that would not want outsiders coming into their culture at all.
That's not true because they're very entrepreneurial, and they've always been very entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. And they know that if they want to make money, they have to trade with the outside world. And there's been times in Maroon culture when they've been very wealthy, and it's because of their ability to trade. One of the reasons they became wealthy in the 19th century is they were extremely good at whitewater rafting.
Oh, geez.
And they were good at taking equipment through the rivers into the gold fields because they mine a lot of gold in Suriname and Guyana. And so and not only the equipment, but the supplies for the miners and all the rest of it. And they made a lot of money. So they've always dealt with people from the outside.
Is this on the Amazon River?
Well, the Amazon River is south of there.
Oh, okay.
It'd be the Suriname River.
When I think of rainforest, for some reason, I'm thinking now they still do have piranhas. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh
See,
yeah.
Whitewater rafting in West Virginia scares me a little bit. Whitewater rafting with piranhas.
Actually, you won't find the piranhas in the whitewater. It's just the quiet water. But
just the quiet
when the rapids end and it gets really quiet, that's why you have to be extremely careful.
Don't fall out of the boat.
Don't fall out of a canoe. That's rule number 1.
Rule number 2 is the tarantula pickup thing. So write these down, just in case we find ourselves in.
You just
the
don't sit on a
rainforest.
tarantula.
Just don't sit on a tarantula.
That's rule number 2.
And you actually wrote a book about that too, didn't you?
working
Those
on
stories are in a novel that's coming out this
Oh,
spring.
okay.
Never sit on a tarantula.
That's the title of the novel. Yep.
Did
have
Marty
to
tell
pick
you
that
what
one up.
happened when he loves to fish, and he went fishing for tarantulas when he was in one of the villages?
You went
Fishing for no, excuse me.
I mean
piranhas.
for piranhas.
I was like, you can fish for tarantulas? I don't even know if I'd want to. How would you clean a tarantula? I don't know if I'd eat one.
No, it's they actually bit through 2 of my plugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, plastic one, a Rapala. If you're a fisherman, you know what a Rapala is. It's got the 3 hooks back and middle.
Yeah.
It's plastic. Right through it.
Oh,
They
jeez.
bit a wooden plug in half. So I caught one on a metal, brought him in, and held him up in the air, and the Indian took a club and whacked him on the top of the head, because that's how you don't take the hook out until you put him out.
Put your fingers too close to its mouth.
At the end of the evening, I had caught probably a couple hundred, and the villagers had a big feast. And
Do they eat them?
Oh, yeah. But
Really?
they won't
I hadn't
catch them.
never
That's
thought of
what I couldn't figure out. And the reason they won't catch them is they have evil spirits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they told me that I had 200 evil spirits, and I really, really should never fall out of a canoe. That's the
They're coming
rule.
for you.
They-
Well, you had this bee incident that I remember. Was this before or after the evil spirits that you...
No, that was, they asked me all the time what came closest to killing me.
Uh-huh.
And the Indians actually gave me an island
Really?
in the middle of the rainforest. Yeah, I still have the deeds and everything. Whether I still own it or not is subject to interpretation.
They give everybody that island.
Probably.
That's
But at the
people's
time, it was great. And I
Yeah.
went exploring, and I bumped into a bee's nest, and my entire face and head was covered.
Are these typical bees like we have here, or are these bigger?
They stung me, you know.
How many
and,
times?
Probably over 100.
Jeez.
And I tell the kids that's like being hit by a rattlesnake.
Mm-hmm.
And the Indians went off into the jungle and collected herbs and a slug and a bunch of other stuff and mixed it all together and dumped it over the top of my head. And I think they saved my life. It's hard to tell. I might be just kidding, but it certainly got better quick. And that's when I became extremely interested in the medicines.
Now, did this end up coming in one of the Teddy Bear Guardian books?
Oh, yeah.
The bee story?
Oh, no, the bee story's
The
in
bee
the
sto-
novel.
Bee stories in the novel. I'd want to see what the teddy bear would look like with 100 stings and a slug. And
Well, the only problem is I had to jump in the water to get the bees off, and that was
you broke rule number 1.
that's a whole story in and of itself, you know. I still had all my fingers when I jumped back out, so I guess I was lucky. Those kinds of things happened every day, practically. There was always something going to kill me, or try to anyway.
A lot of times the kids will ask Marty and I, Mr. Wach, you went to the rainforest how many times? All those times, how did you survive? And Marty always tells them, I was a good listener. And if they told me to stand over here, I stood over here. If they told me to stand over there, I didn't question it. I stood over there. And if they told me not to do that, I didn't do that. And so we were in a school one time, and he's telling them that, you know, reinforcing the idea that it's great to be a good listener at times in life, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this kid stood up his hand. He was a fourth grader. And he said, I'd be the first one to die.
Yeah. There's whole classes in the United States that would just be victims.
And we always tell them, the next thing we tell them is, you know, there are no dumb kids in the rainforest. If you are a dumb kid and you don't do what you're told,
You're already dead.
you're
out of the gene
out of the
pool.
gene pool.
And they will. The teachers oftentimes will volunteer a student to go with me the next time I go down. For
Oh,
sure.
really? They got a lineup. It's like, you go over here.
Yeah.
Martin, you're
Take
taking,
this one
yeah.
with you the next time. You know, we don't want him back.
And then they number them off. Those you leave.
Make sure you sign the permission slip.
You bet.
Now, poison dart frogs. That was something that I thought was interesting. You were talking about medicine. Something that you had brought back for anesthesiologists.
Poison dart frogs
anesthesiologists,
have
yeah.
an anesthesia. When you shoot a monkey out of a tree
Uh-huh.
and you got to drag him 20 miles back to the village at 95 degrees, you don't want him dead. No. You want him knocked out. Mm-hmm. So the dart will knock the monkey out for maybe 3-4 hours. And then they tie him and bring him back. And of course, the monkey's going to die anyway. But at least when he gets back, he's fresh. And the thing that thinking outside the box, I tell the kids all the time, I was interested in the poison, not so much in the monkey.
You never ate the monkey?
Oh yeah, monkey's pretty good.
Really?
Actually, yeah. But we'll keep that between us because a lot of kids are in love with monkeys. But the anesthesiologists were really interested in them, and they'll pay $50 a piece for a poison dart frog to study them. Mm. But the neat part is that after 30 days, they're not poisonous anymore.
They expire.
No, they.
I mean, the poison expires.
Right.
Yeah.
They eat a bug in the rainforest that makes them poisonous, and they create a whole new poison. It's really cool.
Huh.
But then after they feed them crickets here in the United States for a couple of weeks or a month, they send them back. So you're really not taking the frog out of the environment.
And I wonder if the frog itself would be able to survive once it got back. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you,
just goes
you'd
back
figure
up
they'd
in
have
a
a
tree.
constant supply of poison though here, or I'm not here, but in South America.
They just go back up in a tree into a plant called a bromeliad and start all over, and it's as if they never even left the country.
Huh.
So it's a great repeat business, very entrepreneurial. Catch him again in 30 days.
Just to monitor where he's going, tracking.
And that's why I had the island.
GPS.
The island was where I was keeping track of them.
Now, were you tagging them at all or anything like
No.
that? No. Okay. I'd be interested.
But they're 300 times more poisonous than the most poisonous snake.
Did you ever see anybody get poisoned by one?
Picked one up once, so it was a bad thing to do.
Is this in one of the books?
Yeah, oh yeah, that'll be in it.
Yeah.
That's got 100
So what
stories.
happened? Yeah, I gotta get this book. Just you should have just named it "1,000 Ways I Almost Died" by Martin Wach.
Delia has no idea.
She does now.
Oh no.
Is there anything you would like to tell us now that your wife does not know?
No, I don't think so. Not right. She'll read the book when it's
Put
over.
your fingers in your ears for just a second.
She's heard all the stories. Yeah, she's pretty up on what, you know.
And don't forget, I know Heinz too, and what
Oh,
he didn't tell me, Heinz told me.
the Maroons are telling
against
all
you.
about you.
They squeal all
They
the time.
squeal. They're telling your stories a lot. All right. Well, it looks like it's about time to take a break. So
All right, well, we'll be right back. Tongue tied again.
does that a lot.
304-214-1600. Give us a call toll free 866-514-1600. You're listening to AM 1600.
you want to give some movie tickets away?
Yeah, I got some movie tickets. Marquee Cinema.
Do you have
We'll be
any
right
questions?
Do you want to dive into the bizarre world of the paranormal? Do ghosts, UFOs, or the supernatural amaze you to the point of wanting to learn more? Well then, you need BVRN, the Black Vault Radio Network. With more than 1,200 hours of on-demand talk radio, syndicated from more than 35 shows, the Black Vault Radio Network is your one-stop shop for the world of the unexplained. Check us out and tune in 24 hours a day at www.blackvaultradio.com. Again, that's www.blackvaultradio.com.
Over recent years, the traditional office has become more of a touchpad than a daily destination. Long gone is the reliance on a landline to work away from the office. More people are performing work from home or other locations thanks to technologies like GoToMyPC that let you take your office wherever you go. With GoToMyPC, you have freedom from the office, enhanced work-life balance, and increased work flexibility. When choosing a remote access service, you need to make sure it's easy to set up, easy to use, and affordable. That's why you need GoToMyPC. And you can try it free for 30 days. For this special offer, go to mypc.com/techpodcasts. That's go to mypc.com/techpodcast. Take your office with you wherever you go with GoToMyPC.
Welcome back to Whispers, everybody, on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog. It is 8:37 p.m. here in downtown Wheeling. With us in the studio, we got Martin and Delia Wach. They are well-known children's book authors and illustrators. They're actually the top 2% of children's authors, so that's very impressive. And they are also travelers. They have many adventures in the rainforest in South America, and they're sharing with us some stories.
Sounds like Delia, you didn't do any of the crazy stuff that he did. I mean, the mistakes that he's made, jumping in rivers and picking up poison dart frogs. And
No,
you learned from his mistakes.
no, but I traveled with Maroons in the United States, which was an interesting experience. And while they're very savvy, it also was definitely some cultural differences.
Such as?
I remember one time we took him into the medicine man lives on a diet of chicken and rice, and he believes that this keeps him healthy because he had some health problems in the past, and he went on this diet of chicken and rice. And Maroon women have this very special way of making chicken and rice. So when you're traveling, chicken and rice is not the easiest thing to come up with in an American restaurant, especially on the 4 lanes. It's not typical. So I took them into Cracker Barrel.
Oh, geez.
And, because I knew they'd have chicken, and I didn't know about the rice, but I figured I could get them something to eat. So they had a special where they had, how when we were kids and you went and you were Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, you'd make a whole meal and put it in aluminum foil and put it in the fire, and it tasted really good. So they had this special at Cracker Barrel where they were making those kinds of packages of aluminum foiled food. And I thought, well, that's a great thing. It's got the rice and it's got everything they like in it. It's going to be a good deal. So we ordered it, and because it was in foil, they thought it'd come out of the garbage. It's a little cultural thing.
Did you ever get them to eat it? Or?
Yeah, but they were like real hesitant. Are you sure this is okay? And I'm like, this is a big thing.
We eat out of the garbage here.
That's right. We eat out of the garbage here.
It's healthier that way.
Yeah, it's much healthier that way. And there were other little things. We were in a Big Lots one time, and I was with the medicine man's wife, who is actually a kindergarten teacher in Suriname. And Silva and I are in this Big Lots, and we were near the toy aisle. And there was this little 5-year-old American boy, and he was giving his dad the riot act. If you don't buy me that toy, I'm going to make your life miserable kind of thing. And she just looked at me, because remember I said there are no dumb kids in the rainforest, they obey? She just wanted to go over and help this parent. And believe me, she was going to help that kid too.
There's a lot of kids that need help.
She just couldn't understand. She was absolutely flabbergasted that any child, especially a 5-year-old, would be defiant to a parent. It was just so outside of her realm of understanding. We had some other Maroons visiting us with us one time, and they came with a 3-year-old. And this little girl's name was Mayeni, and she was very precocious. And she was just like, really precocious. And they all said that she had an old soul because they believe in reincarnation. And so, when a child's really precocious when they're little, obviously they have an old soul. Well, another part of Maroon culture is that everybody takes care of everybody's children. So in the villages, children 3-year-olds just roam free. And they know wherever they go, somebody will take care of them. It's not a big issue, how far are they going to go, number one. And number two, they go to their aunt's house or their grandmother's house, and they have a little route that they go on. I couldn't get her to keep her. We lived on the road. She was just going to let her go. I was like, no. Yeah, she'll be fine. I'll take care of her. I'm like, no.
No, they'll take care of her. Oh, geez. Now, when we were talking before the show, Jordan mentions that how this all started. Jordan really did want to, he wants to write a book. And when I was at Moundsville Middle, you were talking about, telling these 7th, 8th graders, probably 6th graders, I'm not sure if they were in there or not. But
started with 6th graders.
Did it start? Yeah. I think I came with the 7th and 8th. So telling them they could write a book, and I think they were kind of like, yeah, whatever, can't write a book. And really, you have proof right here that 7th and 8th graders, what's the youngest you've ever done a book with?
This book was written by 2nd and 4th graders.
And that book is
Cutting Class.
Cutting Class? Oh, so they were skipping 2nd and 4th graders skipping class.
They start early now. It's the new millennium. That's the thing to do.
Okay. Kindergartners will be next.
Well, what's that book about? What inspired them to write a book?
Well, when we go to schools, part of the process of writing a book, part of the process of writing anything is the first part is brainstorming. And we do brainstorming sessions with kids to get them up with the ideas, because the first thing they want to do is they want to write Harry Potter.
It was very successful. Why are you stopping them?
Right.
They can make millions.
J.K. Rowling seems to be a little sensitive about that.
She'll send them a letter.
Yeah, and a lawyer.
Cease and desist.
So one of the things we tell them is we try to get them off of that idea and know that the best thing to write about is what you know about. What do you know about? What makes your school different? What makes your school spectacular? What's interesting in your life? Well, these kids had a little girl that they had gone through school with. They were 4th graders. They had gone through school with, and in kindergarten and 2nd grade, she got cancer.
Oh, geez.
And she had survived both times. and they wanted to do something to help, so they joined the St. Patrick's.
Okay. Now, can you tell us a little bit about that? St.
Well,
Patrick's?
sometime around St. Patrick's Day, they bring in hairdressers and they shave their heads bald and collect money. They get pledge cards that they'll shave their heads. And these kids, now I can't remember all the numbers, but these kids, when we met them, had earned over $50,000 for childhood cancer research. And that was in like 2 years.
It's about $100,000 now that they've raised for cancer research. This little group of kids in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's a great story.
One little boy alone had raised $10,000. So it was absolutely amazing story. And that's what we try and let them know. You've got the amazing story. When Marty was down in Moundsville, he was talking to the kids about the penitentiary and all the ghost stories with the penitentiary and all the paranormal events that have happened with the penitentiary.
Lola, we're going to take Martin with us to see
Martin,
what he does with the bats.
Delia's got to come too.
She loves Paranormal State, by the way. So she's the ghost hunter in the family.
I'm the more down to earth.
He probably doesn't believe in them.
Well, not necessarily true, but
okay. Well,
anyway,
I wasn't sure.
I want to come. I want to come for sure. But the sixth graders down at Moundsville, that you heard what they wanted to write about, right?
A lot of different. I know one mentioned on Paranormal State. His dad, or no, his uncle was the guy Redbone or T-Bone. Yeah. And so,
Oh, yeah, I
you remember that?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So you were there with that. Of course, you were there with that. It was your program. What am I talking about?
Well, we were with a sixth grade class about 2 months ago, and the sixth graders said, we want to write about NPOEF. And I said, what the heck is NPOEF? And this little boy got up and he said, never pee on an electric fence.
Great book.
And I said, maybe a parent might not like to see that on a bookshelf with a bunch of little kids, but
their kids' names there. They're so proud.
But out of 452 schools now, we've written 6 books.
Well, and our first book we wrote with a school that is in Greenbrier County. We were at the school, and all of a sudden the principal comes up and he says, because when Marty and I go to a school, we don't go for an hour. We go for the whole day. And, we're used to that. I mean, we like the kids to really get to be able to interact with us. And so the principal comes up to us and he says, Mr. and Mrs. Wach, you're going to have to leave early. You can only stay till 11. And we're like, we're feeling kind of upset. And then he tells us why. 1,000 motorcycles are going to appear at our school at 12 o'clock. And we're like, well, that happens. That happens at every school, right? And it turns out that these were veterans on their way to the wall in Washington, D.C.
Wow. And
over the 20 years they've been visiting this school, they have given the school $150,000. So our first book, Veterans Reign in Their Own Parade, is about how in 1989 or 88, the first time these veterans came through, all the towns that they went to before then gave them a hard time because they were motorcycle guys with tattoos.
Of course, they're going to tear up the town.
Right.
They've seen the movies.
Yeah, they've seen the movies, yeah. Until they got to Raynell. And when the sheriff found out they were coming, because the sheriff in the town before had called and said, roll up your streets, bring in your kids, don't just make these guys go through, don't let them stop. When he found out they were Vietnam vets, they held a spontaneous parade for these guys.
Wow.
And these guys said that was when they finally got their welcome home from Vietnam. And they were so grateful they stopped there every year. And it's in Raynell, West Virginia. And some of the motorcyclists don't even go onto the wall in Washington, D.C. anymore. Their destination is Raynell. And they stay there the whole weekend.
I've never heard of that before.
So that's why we wrote a book about it. And that book has gone all over the world. And I have seen veterans of 3 wars, when they got a hold of that book, just sit down and cry that somebody had written the story and written a positive story. And the kids did it. They wrote little stories. It's very similar to cutting class. It's a lot of little stories put together.
And I remember seeing one of the books when Martin was in Moundsville, and it had like sidebars and stuff. And I think the one you were showing there was the cutting class, and one of the students had drawn their own picture, of what you were saying, that when you showed up, there was like these bald kids running around. You had no idea what was happening. So would have been what is happening here?
And that's what makes a good book, a good story. And in the one book we wrote in Parkersburg, they have an illegal school cat in their school. And that's a neat
And you're
story.
telling everybody about it now.
Well, now it's famous illegal
Nobody will
school
get rid
cat.
of it
You
now.
can't get rid of it now.
It's infamous.
And that book, it just won a national award, and the book that we wrote with Raynell just won a national award.
Congratulations.
So they're both really, really, and we did them. We now have made 100 kids here in West Virginia and in Kentucky published authors.
Now, we've got about 8 minutes left. In 8 minutes, can you tell us, let's say, somebody out there is listening, they probably are thinking, I have interesting stories. I can write a book. Jordan, one of Jordan's lifelong dreams is to write a book. Can you tell him in 8 minutes, how could he get started on writing a book?
Well, we have a great website.
Okay.
And that we've just created because of the economy and everything. We figured that it'd be a lot helpful if we could get people to come on and get things that they need for little or nothing. And we have a lot of free information. It's called teddybearguardians.com. Okay. And anybody who's interested in writing a book and wants to work with us or would like us to come to their school to talk to the kids or anything at all they have to do is log on to our website, and there'll be all kinds of information about who we are, what we've done. And we tell everybody, when I speak at a school, anybody who's got a good story can write a good book. The big problem is putting the time in to get it done. It does take a year to
I think a lot of people get afraid they're going to get rejected in the first, they'll get rejected the first time and, oh, that's it, I can't write a book, and those give it up. I mean, how hard was it for you when you were trying to get published? Were you ever rejected?
The first book we presented, the publisher in New York loved Delia's artwork and said,
she does an awesome job.
He said, I want this book. And then he looked at me and he said, your writing stinks. And
at least he was direct.
I'm 59 years old, and this is this guy from New York telling me my writing stunk. I just wanted to haul off and pop him.
He's drinking foo-foo coffee with chocolate in it up there.
Actually, he looked like the old school principal who was really mad at me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But he gave us a check, and he said, rewrite it. And the one lesson I had and what I pass on to the kids is I had to rewrite it 16 times.
Oh, jeez.
And I tell a kid at school, I say, suppose your teacher hands you back a paper and you have to rewrite it twice. You get all bent out of shape. I said, the only way to really do it, and we've learned our trade. We now know how to put a children's book together and tell other people how to put children's books together.
But you also have a book sitting here that says, what's the name of the book? You've got it right there in front of you.
An Adventure in Writing.
There you go. And it's about how to write a book.
It's a 32-page book about how to write a 32-page book.
There you go.
And when we got published the first time, on the base of my artwork, but not on the base of our writing,
Martin.
C'est la vie.
Yeah.
what we had done was we had scrapbooked our own books. And because at the time we were selling my artwork, and the books are an extension of my artwork, and we were selling those hand-built copies of Teddy Bear Guardians of the Rainforest for $100 a piece to teddy bear collectors, to adult teddy bear collectors.
Wow.
And so when we did go to a publisher, and he looked at our artwork and loved the idea of the book, and he knew that the rainforest, in putting teddy bears in the rainforest is kind of an unusual combination, that he knew that there was a lot of curriculum about rainforests going on in schools. So he knew that it was a good combination. And the thing that he taught us was, and it's reflected in all of our books afterwards, is we had a simple little story, a little, what you would more expect out of a children's book, much more simple dialogue, much more simple. It was just really, really simple. It had very few words in it. It was mostly my artwork. And he would talk to us, and he would talk to us just like you have tonight. Well, tell us about the boys and dart frogs, and tell us about the snakes, and tell us about this. And we would just go on and on and on because, we have a real passion for the rainforest. He'd say, put it in the book. So he taught us to combine the story with learning.
You notice I'm not asked about snakes. I don't like
Oh,
snakes.
okay.
I lift my feet up in the car if we run over a snake.
Well, let me tell you something about travel.
Just in case it jumps up and latches on.
It
And
could happen.
that is the
explained this to
reason he
people.
picks his feet up.
Snakes are very crafty. If they can get their fangs into the car and slither up, kind of like an action hero kind of thing. Snakes in the plane, snakes in the car.
You won't be going to the rainforest.
No, I would not suggest a trip to the rainforest.
I'm going
for
to send a
you.
video camera with you, and that'll be my adventure. And I'll fast forward through the snake parks.
Well, but whatever you're interested in, that's what you should write about. Whatever
Now-
you're interested in, whatever you know.
I think I could handle the writing part. The part that I couldn't handle, and the kids have done a wonderful job, and I have no idea how they did it. I can't draw. We were talking, I think, during the break that I went to a comic book artist. He was teaching people how to write comic books, storyboard them, and these art students at West Liberty, they're drawing these muscular, superhero kind of people, and all wonderful art. And here I am, stick figures. It was just stick figures. I'm like, well, this is Michael Jackson, and I was like, well, what? How can you tell it's Michael Jackson? It's like, look at the nose. It's like and it's all this little curved nose, and it's and there's a monkey next to him. And I was like, well, that's a little kid. Can't draw a monkey.
Well, we're right here in town, and if anybody wants to, anywhere would like us to come and not come, we go to the schools, of course. But if they want to contact us on the internet and up to our website, we'll go out of our way to help somebody become an author, because it's the best thing that can happen to you in your entire life. I'm 65 now. I've got another 30 books in my head.
Wow.
And I want to write till the day I die.
And I'm raising my hand right now because
Jordan needs help.
And I sold a book today for a girl that we met her aunt at a hotel in Charleston. And I was writing my novel at the time, and she asked me what I was doing, and she said she had a niece who was a children's book author. She's published. I got her published, and her book is selling all over the United States now.
How old was she again?
The girl that wrote the
niece,
books.
yeah.
Oh, no, she's an adult.
She's an adult.
Oh, okay. I was like,
No, this
for
is
some
an
reason I
adult.
thought it was going to be this.
she's 3.5.
So
Nick.
somebody like yourself,
never know.
if you got a good, the key is a good story. If you've got a good story and you're really intent on putting it down and writing it, Delia and I can help anybody.
And we do show you a technique in Adventures in Writing, and also in the back of Cutting Class, how the kids in Cutting Class did their illustrations. We show you a technique for using tracing paper, graphite paper, and what materials to use to produce professional-looking illustrations, even if you can't draw.
And I can trace. I bet you I could trace.
It's out.
I'll put money on it. I'll bet you tonight that we'll trace.
I'll
I will
tell you
trace
what,
something.
anybody who is interested and would like to get up and be a writer, contact Nick and I, and we will put you through and we'll make sure that everybody's in contact with everybody else, and we'll do what we can to help you guys do what you do.
And all the books on the website linked up goes to your site.
We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, and they can find you that way. They can find you through us. whispers1600@gmail.com.
Yeah, give us an email, and we'll definitely help you guys out. Yeah, that's all we got for right now. Right?
Yeah, you got
Well, we got
about
we got 3 minutes.
3.5 minutes. So we want to talk about what's coming up.
Yeah, what do we got next week, Nick?
All right. Well, next week, actually, you might like this, Delia. You were telling us you like the paranormal state and stuff. The name went out of my head.
Alex Monte Kanawati.
I looked at you and I just went blank. He's a
He is a filmmaker
happens
in
a
L.A.
lot.
Yes.
He contacted us a few weeks ago. He is making a film with actress Jennifer Tilly, and there's a lot
You like
of
Jennifer Tilly?
I do. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
There is a lot of paranormal activity happening on the set, so he is going to be on, kind of
These are some
talking
creepy
about.
pictures. I mean, like noses and just all of a sudden along the gate, and it's not. They were not using any special effects.
Yeah, there's no special effects,
And
but
hair will come on, the actors' faces in the film. I mean, not happening physically, but I mean that's the stuff that they're recording, so it's going to be interesting. So and then
it
after
should
that
be a
we
good
have
show.
Kirk Keen, I believe is how he says his name. He's a documentary filmmaker. He made a movie. And if you watch the movie, it's Dear Zachary, Letter to a Son About Father, I believe is the exact full title. And you'll cry. It'll make you mad. Have you seen it yet?
No, but
I'm
you told me that
I'm
it's
going to
gonna
try
make
my
me
best to
very angry.
get you a copy to watch before we have it.
it's playing on MSNBC.
Jordan's only
lately.
watched 30 minutes of it.
I cried like 4 times in the first 30 minutes.
Then I'm
It's ridiculous. And
And
it's not
by
like,
the end, my wife was so mad. I mean, at the end, you're yelling at the TV, and then she's crying, and And it really was. It was and I called him just from watching the trailer. If you can go online, I think DearZachary.com. But if you look up Dear Zachary,
Yeah, just Google it, Dear
Dear
Zachary
Zachary,
trailer, and you'll be able to see it.
It's on MSN.com.
MSNBC.
I mean, on TV.
Yeah.
It has been. I'm not sure if it's still playing. I need to check on that. They were playing it, and I put it on my DVR.
What's the number?
Of MSNBC.
Yeah.
My TV's smart. It looked for it. I'm sorry. I have a computer running my. I can't help it. I have a computer running my.
You can't use your own remote.
No, my computer runs everything.
No,
It dresses me at night.
Nick wants to be a super evil genius,
I think so.
and
That's my goal in life. Can you help with that, Martin? I want to be an evil genius. Can you help me with that?
That's nothing I can do
There's
for
nothing
you.
you can do for me on that.
see, you're lucky today you came in and he's only got the one computer. There was weeks where he'd have two big laptops going on and one tiny little one, and he was like creating the world.
And I'd be over here like this, like you. Jordan would be like, "You guys, Nick, what are we going to do today?" I'll be, "Conquer the world, Jordan." You know? And so it's been pretty bad.
So you were doing a version of Pinky and the Brain?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's my life.
Next week, Alex Monty Kanawati. It should be interesting. I guess Sylvia Brown said that he had a vortex of the paranormal.
I thought it was the psychic Bermuda Triangle or something.
Yeah, he was living in the psychic Bermuda Triangle. No, the film set was the psychic Bermuda Triangle.
There's a psychic Bermuda Triangle
and
somewhere in the vicinity of
we
this
all know
man.
how reliable Miss Sylvia Brown is.
Yes.
Jordan's not a fan.
All right, that's all we got for this week. Until next week, everybody, remember, don't be afraid, only believe.